Before dragons ruled the sky, before kings and queens waged their endless wars, before fire and steel carved the world into kingdoms and ruins, there was ice. The world was not as it is now. There were no cities, no great walls of stone, no iron thrones to be fought over. There were no banners fluttering in the wind, no oaths sworn in the halls of men. Instead, there was only wilderness, a world untouched, a land of whispers and shadows. For 10,000 years, the land belonged to the trees, the rivers, and the spirits that whispered through them. The rivers ran deep and untamed. The forests stretched beyond sight, their ancient roots twisting through the heart of the world. The wind carried voices, not of men, but of the old gods. And beneath their watchful eyes, in the quiet places of the world, there lived those who had known no war, no conquest, no hunger for power. The children of the forest. They had no kings, no castles, no swords. Their bodies were small, their forms delicate, but their spirits ancient. They did not build towers of stone or carve roads through the land. They lived in the heart of the forests, unseen by man, bound to the will of the earth itself. They spoke to the trees, sang to the rivers, and listened to the wind. They were the first protectors of this world, but they were not its last. For men came, and men do not listen. They take, they burn, they build. They carve the land into pieces and call it theirs. They came from across the sea, their ships dark against the horizon. They were the first men, though they were not the first to walk these lands. Their swords were forged of iron. Their axes fell heavy against the sacred trees. They did not whisper to the rivers. They did not hear the voices of the gods. Instead, they burned. The forests were set alight, their smoke choking the sky. The great weirwoods, ancient as the dawn, were cut down, their red sap bleeding into the earth. The rivers ran black with ash, and the children of the forest, who had known no war, were forced to fight. For centuries, the land bled. The first men fought with steel. The children fought with the wind and the trees, calling upon the magic of the world itself. The rivers rose to drown their enemies. The vines reached out to tear them from their horses. Shadows moved through the woods, unseen and deadly. But even magic has limits. The first men were many, too many. They did not fear the gods of the old world. They did not hear the cries of the trees as they fell. And one by one, the voices of the children began to fade. Desperation, it is a cruel thing. It bends the hearts of even the purest. It drives even the wisest to madness. And so, in the face of extinction, the children of the forest made a choice they could never take back. Far to the north, beyond the reach of men, beyond the warmth of fire, there was a place where winter never ended. A place where the sun was a pale, forgotten thing, and the cold ruled without mercy. The lands of always winter. It was there that the ritual began. Beneath the blood-red leaves of an ancient weirwood, in a circle of carved stones older than time itself, the last hope of the children was forged. They had taken a man, a warrior, a leader. His name is lost to time, his face forgotten. Only his fate remains. He did not understand. He did not need to. The dragon-glass dagger, forged in darkness, sharp as the bite of winter, was raised high above him. It hummed faintly, pulsing with a power not of this world. Its edge caught the moonlight, a single sliver of shadow against the cold. Then, silence. And in that silence, the blade fell. It sank into his chest like ice through water. His body arched, his mouth opened in a silent scream, his breath turning to mist in the frozen air. The ground beneath him cracked, ice spreading outward like a living thing. His veins darkened, his flesh turned pale as frost. His heartbeat slowed, and then stopped. The first man died, and in his place, something else awakened. The air grew heavy, the sky darkened, and then his eyes opened, a color that had never been seen before. Not fire, not the deep brown of the earth, nor the golden light of the sun. Blue, not the blue of the summer sky, not the blue of the rivers that ran through the land. A blue that burned like frozen fire, a blue that did not belong to this world. The children of the forest stepped back, their golden eyes wide with fear. They had thought they had made a weapon, a guardian, a being of ice to stand against the fire of men. But winter does not obey. He rose slow, deliberate. His movements were unnatural, his limbs stiff, his body caught between life and death. He did not feel the cold. He did not feel time. He did not feel anything. The first White Walker had been born, and with him, the long night had begun. The children of the forest fled, their own creation lost to them. But the thing they had made did not run. It did not sleep. It did not forget. It stood, watching, waiting, and in that moment, the world changed forever. Winter had begun.